All right, so we're going to be taking a look at the best grind spots to grind at for leveling your character. Now, I think it's important to kind of talk about level milestones, right? So you have level 1 to 56, and then you have 56 to 60, and then you have 60 to 62. So once you get to level 56, that's when you unlock your class, succession, and or awakening kit. And then once you reach level 60, that's pretty much when you have all of your important skills unlocked for your class, except for one, which is why getting to level 62 will be important, because that's when you get your last skill that gives you a 1% increase on your special attack damage. But once you reach level 62, there's really no need to push for a higher level, because you don't really gain any extra benefit other than maybe some like minor HP increases. And I think you do get like one hidden AP at level 65. And you know, honestly, I think the most important level to get to is level 60. And then you should kind of direct your focus on grind spots that's going to make you the most silver and or money, right? Depending on your class and gear score, because eventually you'll get to level 62. But I do have a video on the top money making grind spots currently in the game, depending on your gear score. So I highly recommend you checking out that video after this one. Also, I'm going to separate these grind spots in terms of AP. So 240 and below AP, and then 240 AP and above. And as always, if you think I missed an important spot, then let us know down in the comments. But let's jump in. All right, so before I go over the grind spots, I think it's important to mention that you could technically get power leveled from like level 1 to 56 or 1 to 60. And essentially, you would just go to either Underground Gyfin or Elvia Orcs. But Underground Gyfin is going to be the better spot for experience. But Elvia Orcs is going to be a lot more convenient because it's literally right beside Heidel. And then you just go there and you just ask people around that area if you could just leech off their experience and just, you know, let them know that you're new to the game or maybe you're returning back to the game. And I feel like most of the time, you know, people are pretty cool, right? They'll let you join their group just so you can kind of level up. You could also just, you know, message in the server chat and ask from there as well. Or you could just send a world message and ask that way. And then you can just kind of switch to their server. So I just wanted to throw that out there because that's just another easy way to kind of level up pretty quickly. And actually, I was at a different grinding spot and one of my viewers said that they were leveling up. And I just said, hey, you want to just come over where I'm at and I can just level you up to level 60. And he was already level 56. So he got to 56 to level 59 in like a matter of an hour. And he was just kind of chilling. So yeah, people are definitely pretty cool about just allowing you to gain experience and level up your character. Now, another important thing to mention, which I kind of feel like is not really spoken on very much for some reason, but is utilizing your character tag system, which essentially shares the experience with other characters that you have tagged, right? So pretty much you can level up your alt characters while grinding with your main character extremely easy, right? So you can pretty much just grind and level up two characters. So I think it's very important to just remember while you're leveling up your character, just tag a alt character and also level that character up, and it's free, right? You don't technically have to put your main character's gear on your alt character for it to work. You can literally just tag an alt character and then just share the experience that way. So super easy. Now, if you're going to level manually and if you're a new player, make sure your character is on the seasoned server because you get a lot of experience on those specific servers. Also, if you're a new player, I highly recommend you doing the main story quest line and then just kind of leveling up your character as you're progressing through the story, right? However, if you're a returning player and you've already finished the main story quest line, then you can just do the simplified path once you get to Velia, and then you can just kind of start grinding right off the bat, right? So I'm going to show you kind of real quick the path progression that I took going from level 1 to 56, right? And you're going to also want to make sure that you pick up the free 530% combat and skill experience scrolls in the loyalty shop. And you can also get the experience Lightstone combination to give you additional 400 experience, which is huge, right? Other notable buffs that you can kind of pick up, which this is not going to be all of them, but the most ones that I would say is you can get a Beast Drought that will give you an additional 20%. You have the Simple Craw Mill for 20%. You have the Book of Combat for 100%, Tent buff for 10%, Church buffs for 15%, the Mercenary experience scroll that's 200% that you can get daily in your reward tab just for logging in. So yeah, there's a bunch of buffs that you can utilize to level up your character faster, okay? And I'm going to show kind of all of that to you real quick here in the game. All right, so now that we're in the game, let me first show you the experience scrolls, right? So you go to Pearl Shop, and then you're going to go to loyalties and silver items, and then unfortunately my camera's kind of in the way, but you're going to scroll down, and you're going to find this right here, which let me see if I can kind of right here. Yeah. So you can kind of see it right under my camera. And that right there is going to give you the scrolls, right? So you only need one loyalty. So literally if you log in one day, you're going to go ahead and get that. And it's going to give you 53 of those, right? Super, super important for when you're leveling up your character to utilize those. So now you just started the game potentially, right? Or you're trying to level to 56. What I've been doing while on the season server is once I get to Velia, which is right here, right? I get my horse, and then this is kind of the path that I take. So I go from here, and then I first go to Altar Imp, right? And make sure you try to pick up a like Simple Craw Mill. That's going to allow you to kill these mobs much quicker, even with like minimal gear. Now, also, is this progression path that I'm doing the most efficient, the most effective? Probably not. But I can get to like level 1 to 56 in literally a matter of like no time, maybe like under an hour. So, and most of it is you're just traveling on a horse. But like I said, I started here and I just kind of follow the level recommendations. So I might stay here until maybe like level 20. And then I might go ahead and move over to Baragi Den, right? And then I might stay here until maybe like 28, 29. And then I'll go from here, Baragi Den, and then I'll make my way to, I will stay here until probably like level 35, 36. And then I will make my way from here to Catfish Camp. Okay. And I will pretty much stay at Catfish Camp until about level 50 to 51. And then I will go to Helms, which is right over here, right? So I usually park my horse like right here. And then I just kind of do this circle right here. And then I'll stay here from like level 50 to 56. And then once I have 56, I'll do the Awakening Succession quest line. So pretty straightforward. Some people, like if you're a returning player and you already have like gear or you're just kind of already familiar with the game, some people might go to Helms as soon as they reach level 40 and just level up that way. The only thing with like doing that is you have that potential aspect where you're not really hitting the mobs because of the accuracy issue. So I personally haven't done it, but I've seen a lot of people do that. Once they reach level 40, they just go straight to Helms and then just kind of level up until they hit level 56. So, but yeah, that's kind of the easiest progression paths that I would say would be just to get to level 56. Oh, and also in the game, so there's a Monster Zone info where, oh, I don't know what happened to my horse there, but okay. But if we go to the Monster Zone info and we can look up kind of like specific leveling areas, And so let me see if I can find one. Let's see. So right here, combat experience. So if I click that, this is going to pop up all of the grind spots that I guess the developers have recommended you should do for leveling up your character. Now, a lot of these are really relevant, but you'll see like once I get into my list, some of the ones that I recommend aren't even on this recommended list, which is it's so weird. I don't know why that is. But this could be another resource potentially to look at if you just wanted to try like different grind spots while you're like leveling up. So let's take a look at the spots that are 240 AP and below, which is pretty much season server gear. Also, in terms of how much experience you can get for each level, that's going to vary greatly based on your class, kill speed, and the amount of experience buffs that you're running. Also, I'm going to do kind of like a rating system, but I'll be honest, regardless of the rating, especially with like the 240 AP and below spots, each spot is really good and you really can't go wrong with either of those. So starting the list at number 6 is going to be Upper Sakraya. This place has an okay-ish mob density. It does have the Marni private realm, and the experience is really good, which to kind of give you some perspective, I was averaging like around 18% from 61 to 62. However, this spot is last on my list because you need at least 200-ish AP and 260 DP, and it's an inconvenient spot because it's all the way on the ocean, and if you want to bring your horse, it's super annoying, bro. Because if you don't have the Celestial Horn, then you essentially either have to use a raft or a fishing boat in order to carry your horse over to the grind spot, right? And if you've ever sailed out in the ocean with either of those boats, it is painfully slow, bro. Painfully slow. All right, coming in at number 5 is going to be Marie's Cave. So this spot's pretty cool. You'll probably need around 200-ish AP to grind efficiently here, and the DP is going to be 250. But essentially, you're just going to go up to a gravestone, and you're going to hit the gravestone, and then the mobs will spawn, and you'll just kill them, and then the gravestone breaks, and then you just kind of move on to the next gravestone, and then you just kind of rinse and repeat. It's also on mainland, so it's a lot more convenient spot. And just to kind of give you some perspective, you'll kind of get like around 1.4% an hour from 62 to 63. All right, so coming in at number 4 is Prodi Cave. So I honestly think this is probably the best spot for leveling up if you're under 60. It only took me about like 1 hour to get from 57 to 60 in the season server. So the experience is really, really good, and the mob density is very high. Unfortunately, though, it's ranked number 3 because it's out in the ocean, just like Upper Sakraya. So it's another inconvenient spot. If it wasn't for that, it probably would be ranked at like number 1 for me. Gear-wise, you're looking at around 170-ish AP and 200 DP. All right, coming in at number 3 is going to be Mirmok Ruins. Now, this place is a very well-known spot for leveling up a character. Back in the day, you would see like 5-person parties always grinding just to get their character levels up. People now do it solo just because the gear score is so high now. But people do it solo, especially if they want to just like level up like their alt character. You can still find some people power leveling other people up. But in terms of like gear, you're looking at needing around 190-ish AP and 270 DP. And in terms of experience, you're looking at around 10 to 15% an hour from 61 to 62, and then about 2% an hour from 62 to 63. So coming in at number 2 is Desert Nagas. Now, this place is pretty good with experience. However, it is in the desert, so you can't see your map. And you can get either heat stroke or hypothermia that will drain your health and kill you if you don't get rid of the debuff, right? Which you'll need either star T to get rid of the hypothermia or purified water to get rid of the heat stroke. This place does have the private Marnie realm, and the gear requirement is very, very low, like only needing about 100-ish AP and 180 DP, which is probably the lowest on this list. I would say either this spot or the number one spot that I'm about to talk about would be kind of the two main spots that most new players are going to level up to at least level 60. All right, so coming in at number one with 240 AP and below is going to be Polly's Forest. Now, again, this is another low gear requirement spot, only needing about 140-ish AP and 250 DP. And it also has the private Marnie realm, and the mob density is very, very high here. And you'll get a ton of experience for skill points, which I guess is kind of more irrelevant now anyway, since they changed most of the skills requiring less skill points. But yeah, I would say this is probably the number one spot that is really recommended for new players for, again, at least leveling up to 60. And the money here is really not too bad, right? You're probably looking at around like the 400 million-ish an hour range. But yeah, this spot should yield you more silver than like the other spots that I was talking about. Also with this spot, you'll get an item called Elements, and that can be used to exchange to eventually get your HP or mana infinite potions, which will be really important to get at some point. All right, so now let's take a look at the spots that are 240 AP and above. And again, let me reiterate, once you get to 60, I would just then direct your focus to grind spots that's going to yield you more silver so you can progress your character faster. Or once you get the appropriate gear score, then you can just go to the spots that you can grind the infinite potion pieces for, like, for example, Blood Wolves, right? Or you can just save up silver and just buy the potions off the marketplace. But either way, I would not recommend staying at Polly's or Desert Nagas to get to level 62, because as you're grinding, right, you're going to be gaining experience to get to level 62. So coming in at number 3 is going to be good old Hologun Base over in the Land of the Morning Light. Now, I put this spot in here not because it's one of the best for experience, but because you can make really good silver. And remember how I said once you get to level 60, then you should be focusing on making silver? Well, this is a pretty good silver making spot. I would say like a minimum should be like around 800 million, with people averaging like around 1 billion an hour. Now, granted, the gear requirements are a bit high, so obviously if you're a new player, you're not going to be able to do this. But if you're a returning player and you have close to the gear requirements, then it might be doable, right? What you're going to need like around 270-ish AP and then around 360-ish DP. And you really, really need the DP because these mobs will hit you hard. But just to kind of give you some numbers, you're looking at around 9% an hour at 61 to 62. And then from 62 to 63, I was averaging about 1 to 2% an hour. All right, so coming in at number 2 is good old classic orcs in the Elvius server. Now, this is a really good spot for not only experience, but also for silver. And the gear requirements is actually one of the lowest of the 240 AP and above grind spots. You can actually do this spot with maxed out season gear because of how the mechanics work. But the game does recommend 260 AP and 340 DP. But like I said, because of the mechanics, you can do this grind spot for a lot less gear score. The potential money is not bad, ranging anywhere from like 600 million to about 1 billion, depending on your class and drop rate. And in terms of like experience, you can potentially expect anywhere from like 2 to 4% an hour from 62 to 63, which remember with hull and gun base, I was averaging about like 1 to 2%. All right, so coming in at number 1, which is probably the most well-known spot for leveling up your character, is Underground Gyphon. Now, this spot is actually really good, not only with experience, but also with silver as well, ranging from like 800 million to like over a billion, which of course, you know, that's going to depend on your class, your gear, your drop rate. Also, you need to know the mechanics at this spot, or you can potentially get one shot if you're not paying attention and or if you don't have enough DP. And just kind of real quick, just kind of a quick rundown for the mechanics is essentially you kill one of the 3 big stationary mobs, and once you kill that specific mob, a color will pop up telling you to essentially kill the same respected color of that mob, which can be either blue, red, or purple. I do have a video on this spot that I go into a lot more detail with the mechanics, so I highly recommend you checking out that video after this one, which I'll link the video URL down in the description. But in terms of experience, you can potentially expect around 18 to 20% from 60 to 61, and then about 15% from 61 to 62, and then about 3 to 5% from 62 to 63. Whew, we made it. So that's the top grind spots for leveling up in BDO. Like I said, I think the most important milestones is getting to level 56 first for your Awakening and Succession quest line, and then getting to level 60 to get 99% of your skills for your class, and then getting to level 62 to get your final buff skill. But yeah, I would say once you get to level 60, then I would just kind of direct your focus on grind spots to make you silver, which I have a video on that to show you the top grinding spots depending on your gear range, which should be on your screen. But thanks for watching. I hope you have a great week, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Sunsets on that desert sky, it's just you and I.